It definitely is unfortunate, especially when you look at it from that aspect of like the question even came up yesterday to Lenore's like I don't think it was exactly like this, but it was kind of about like the draft and stuff coming up next year, and this could be like the last time that those two guys ever, like throw the football to each other and whatnot. Like, it's true. Like this could be it for Lenore's after this season, and then him and Jayden never get a chance to play together again. But you know what? They the way he kind of looks at it is they've had their time together already, and they're just grateful to have it. And
Yeah.
he knows Jayden's going to be fine. But in terms of what this does to the receiver room, I think is an interesting discussion, Kendall, because Sellers is definitely someone that was a real contributor last year. Like I said before, probably would potentially he was fighting to be the starter at the slot receiver this season, right? With Mazio Bennett. We'll get back to that and him in a second. With Gibson, I don't know what you could necessarily count on or expect because he hasn't played since 2023. So what would he have looked like? He's a big, tall receiver, 6'5", kind of like a Nick Harbor size in a lot of ways. So maybe you use him in that aspect. But I don't know what you're thinking he's going to be doing just because we don't know. There's so much unknown with what Jayden Gibson would have been just because it's been so long since he's played in a college football game. And this is a discussion that will have to be had next year if he's still with the program next year. So needless to say, Gibson, a little bit of unknown with what his production would have been. Sellers, that's like a guy that you're losing as a starter. So who steps in? I think logic would tell you it's probably Mazio Bennett since he's one of the guys battling out there at the slot. Don't sleep on Sequel Patterson, though. Freshman coming in from Indian Land. This kid's really good. He's gotten a lot of buzz. Shane Beamer has talked openly about what he expects out of Sequel this year and definitely anticipates him being a factor this year in the offense. So I think those two guys could definitely look to see make an impact this year. DJ Black's another guy that we've heard a lot about in camp. Even Lenore's has name dropped him consistently as a guy that's making an impact. He caught a touchdown pass in the first drive of Saturday's scrimmage from Lenore's. So there's a lot of good things going on there. And then you also have all of the returning guys that are sophomores that were four-star freshmen coming into last season. I'm talking about Lex Cyrus, Jordan Gidron, Malik Clark. So you have those guys that are coming back that all redshirted last year, didn't really get a chance to make a big impact. Is this the year we see them make an impact? Because South Carolina is going to have Harbor and Nitro Tuggle. Those are going to be two guys that are going to be the serious contributors in this offense. Then it's figuring out who are your third, fourth, and fifth best options. Because you definitely need, by the end of a game on the stat, when you see the stat sheet, there's usually like 5 to 6, maybe even more guys that catch passes. And honestly, one thing we haven't even really talked about is like, how does the tight end situation factor in all of this? So needless to say, it's not ideal to lose two guys at one position in one weekend. The Gibson injury happened in practice last week, and then Sellers happened at the scrimmage on Saturday from what we were told. But I think the receiver position's like that one spot where you feel like, okay, injuries happened, but you're well equipped with so much depth to where you can take the hit and then move forward, and hopefully no one else gets hurt.
Well, that separates, good teams from great teams. We've had this conversation so many times about other teams in the SEC. It's like you are going to experience this. This is just the nature of the sport of football. And as much as it is sad and it's unfortunate, you don't want to see it happen, it happens. So the best teams are going to have the guys that are able to step up, and you are going to have a lot of depth. So yes, it's good to hear those names that you are throwing out, Jack. Some of them we've seen a little bit more of and maybe have a clearer idea of what they could bring to the table. Some of them we're not 100% sure, but you always have a couple guys every year. And this is what I really do love, is seeing those guys that kind of step out, have their breakout season, have their moment. Who do you think from the wide receiver room will have their breakout season this year, Jack, especially now that maybe more of an opportunity has presented itself with some injuries?
Well, I think Nick Harbor's an obvious answer because he's had really good success. Last year, he was very good. This year feels like it's going to potentially be his coming out year in terms of is a potential 1,000-yard season in the cards for him this year. I would say it's definitely possible. Oh yeah, forgot Donovan Murphy, another guy in this receiver room that has been with the program now for a year, and a guy that could definitely step in and do some good things in this offense. So that's another guy. There's so many receivers in this room to where, sure, you took 2 big losses, but you got guys that can come in and play. So in terms of the receivers, I see we have a few questions about running backs. We're going to get.
We will get there.
We're taking this one position at a time, one topic at a time. I think with the receivers, if I'm pinpointing like one, maybe like underrated guy that I think is going to have a big season, I think it's Mazio. I really do, especially with what happened last year, where he was coming off the great freshman season, and then he just kind of got lost in the shuffle. Again, that goes back to like how many receivers they had last year. With all the freshmen that came in, kind of got lost in the shuffle, didn't get a ton of targets, played, but didn't get much action in this offense. I think he's a guy with so much to prove this year, with that kind of like mentality, that he's going to be a factor one way or another in this offense. And I think he's going to get back to the type of production we saw from 2024.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth. I feel like he does have something to prove this season, and hopefully he goes out there and he plays like it, and he'll most likely now see more opportunity as a result of the injury, specifically to Jayden Sellers.